You're listening to Smithy's Promotions Radio, and we're joined now by one of the big names of Australian boxing and a man who will be in Toowoomba on March 14. He'll be in the corner of Luke Action Jackson, who's here to take on Will Young. I speak, of course, of none other than Billy Hussein. Billy, thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having fun.
Well, Billy, this is a big fight in Australian boxing, Australian title on the line. You have Luke Action Jackson coming to town to fight Will Young, and we understand Luke's just started his preparation with you. How's things going?
Things are great at the moment. Yeah, Luke came down to Sydney. I only wanted him here for 6 to 7 weeks. I don't want to get too stale in Sydney. I mean, he's a big name in Hobart, and he runs his own business, so it's good to get away from the distractions there. I mean, obviously everyone likes to be at home in training camps, but all the hard work's in Sydney, all the sparring, all the training, and he did 2 solid weeks with Grant Brown there, helping him out, getting him through the first 2 weeks to where we want to be. And ladies, he started on fire. I mean, he came down in great shape, and first week, mate, already sparred 2-time world champion Billy the Kid Dib, and sparred a few other boys, and he's looking amazing already. Okay,
so you look at this fight and we talk about it. Will Young is the champion. The fight's in his hometown, but Luke Action Jackson, an Olympian, Commonwealth Games, undefeated. He's, you look at his record to date, it's perfect as a professional as well. One of the big names coming through in Australian boxing. Does Will Young deserve to be in the same ring as Luke Action Jackson on March 14?
Of course he does. He's a current Australian champion. He won in his last, I think not last fight, the one before. He's done a great job to win it, and obviously he's got a great team behind him and put him in the right position to win. So yeah, he is Australian champion, and our job is to go to Toowoomba and take that title away from the local boy, and it's going to be a hostile crowd. And yeah, talking about the background, and on paper, Luke should win, but you never know. Boxing, you're one punch away from disaster. So we're confident we're going to do the hard work, and obviously all fights are won in the gym in preparation. And I think I've got one of the hardest working boxers that I've ever dealt with, and we've trained some big names. And Luke Jackson's up there with one of the best guys I've ever trained, and dedication that he shows is second to none. So we're confident, and we're going to win the title. And I think anything can happen on the night.
You listen to what you just said. That's a fair rap from yourself. So obviously you think a lot of this guy Luke Jackson when you look at who you've been involved with and who you've trained, and then there's some big names there. So that says a lot for what you think and your opinion is of Luke Jackson.
Mate, he's got one of the best attitudes when it comes to boxing and the professionalism. I mean, just look at what he's done. He's left his action boxing gym in Hobart, where it's going really well for him, and to come to training camp 6-7 weeks out from a fight, he's left everything behind to show you the dedication, the amazing human being, and just the love he's got, the passion for the sport is second to none. And man, like I said, we have worked with the big guys in boxing, like Danny Greens and Vic Darchinians and the Garswoods, and my 2 brothers, Hussein Skinny and Nader Hampton. I mean, the list goes on. We have worked with the who's who of Australian boxing, and let me tell you, when it comes to dedication and commitment and professionalism, Luke's up there easily with all of them. Easy.
So with this fight, I know obviously you'll hold your cards close to your chest, but what you know of Will Young, what you know of Luke Jackson, how do you see this fight going?
You know what? I watch clips of Will Young, but I know he's got an amazing trainer in his corner, and I know they'll adjust. I know they'll have a different strategy coming into the fight, so I'm not going to go off too much of what I've seen. I'm more worried about our game and what we're going to bring. But I'm not going to lie to you, I'd love to see Luke knock him out. Lock him, you know what I mean, and make it, take it out of the judges' hands. And I'm not concerned about the judges, and I'm not concerned about the local crowd, but I'd love to see Luke. When I sit down and we talk to his promoter Adam Wilcox and his manager Mike Altamura, we're talking about world titles here, and to be able to challenge for world titles, you've got to be able to handle the Will Youngs of the world. And there's no disrespect to Will Young, but I believe that I've got the right charge, and I'm training the right guy to be able to take that Australian title away from Will Young into Toowoomba by knockout, and that's what I'm going to send him out there to do, mate.
Well, it's funny, like you mentioned it along those lines, if you're looking at world titles and bigger picture things, and again, I say this in no disrespect, if that's what you guys think he can do, he should beat Will Young easily. Is that a fair enough assessment?
Yeah, I wouldn't say easily, because every fighter's a chance. It's 50-50 when you walk into the ring, but you look at what we've done as an amateur, and how we've done it, the Olympics and the Commonwealth games, they're not easy to make, and the kid's been around the world as an amateur with, you know, sparred the who's who of the world and fought the who's who, and really, he should win it on paper. But I know, mate, going into someone's backyard, and again, I'll say it again. Brendon Smith's a big factor. I know what he does on the big stage. I know what he brings out the best of them. I've seen what he did with Michael Katsidas and other guys that he's had. I mean, he almost pulled the upset with the young Islander kid against Paul Gallen at one stage, I thought, you know what I mean? So I know what he can do. I know as a trainer, and I know how he's going to prepare his fighters. And I've seen what he does with the Jack Asses of the world and the other young guys that he's got in his table. So we're not taking it lightly. That's what we hear. Training hard and sparring the best in Australia. And like I said to you, he's already sparred Billy the Kid Dib. I brought him into camp straight away. And I've got another guy who's sparring, Dylan Emery, who's 10-11-0 as a pro, and he's another up-and-comer. So, and we've got Joel Branco hopefully sparring in the next week or so. So we're not taking that easy, mate. We're really taking this fight serious. But I want him to show himself and believe in himself that he can knock the current Australian champion out and then move on in our career. But this fight's the most important fight at the moment.
And to go on a sidetrack there slightly, you spoke about Brendon Smith and obviously yourself. I don't think many would argue that you two guys are two right near the top of the tree when it comes to trainers and and when it comes to boxing in this country. But you two go back a long way as well. Like I understand you've been overseas together, fought on the same cards with different fighters, Michael Katsidas and Billy Div, Vic Darchinian, guys like that. You've run into each other, in your own country and out of this country, and you do have a history there together.
Olympics, and I think Michael Katsidas was in the same division, and Lee Trouch beat Michael Katsidas at the national titles in like 1999 or 2000, going for the Olympics, and unfortunately Lee lost to somebody else in the Oceanias, and Michael Katsidas ended up going to the Olympics. But the history is from there. And I mean, I stay under the radar a lot as a trainer because it's not about me, it's about the boxers, and I know Brendon does the same, and we do our job behind closed doors, and we get our results obviously on the night of fight nights, and we're very similar. I promote and manage some of the kids and train them, and I know what Brendon does, and for me to be up against Brendon's a big thing. We have been on the same cards, and we have seen each other overseas a lot, and we have supported one another throughout our careers, and if we can help each other when our kids aren't fighting each other, we do. But mate, for me it's exciting because for me it's another trainer I'm up against. It's exciting. That's what brings the best out of me as a trainer. That's why I'm giving it all for Luke, and I want to get that victory over Brendon Smith, who I think is one of the best in the world at what he does.
You've never been red corner, blue corner against each other in the pros, have you?
I don't think I have, no. That's why it's big for us. And when the fight got negotiated and the contracts got signed, it was very, very exciting. Like I said, not just for Will Young and Luke Jackson, for me as a trainer to go against who I regard as one of the best and who I look up to. And like I said, I run my own gym, and I look at what Smithy does in his gym, and I try to copy a little bit here and there. And with the way he does things, he's a professional.
And let's talk a little bit about yourself. As I said, as a trainer, as I said, I think you've earned the right to be regarded or to call yourself as one of the elite in this sport when it comes to this country and around the world. But guys like Vic Darchinian, I mean, you guided him through a lot of title defences. What was it like working with him?
Vic Darchinian will go down as one of the greatest flyweight superflyers in the history of boxing. I mean, 2-time, 3-time world champion. Tough as they come and easy to train. One of those guys that wanted to be in the gym 24/7 and never disputed who he fought. They always spoke to his promoter, left it in the promoter's hands. But mate, tough, awkward guy to train because of his southpaw style. And like I said, I did my apprenticeship under Jeff Fennick, where we had the Team Fennick stable, where we had my two brothers. One of them fought Manny Pacquiao, the other one fought Arce, who was still reigning champion after 5-6 years in Vegas. Nader Hamden fought everyone. I had Garth Woodward knocked out Mundine, so we did the contender show where I had Garth Wood winning the contender, beat guys like Victor Oganov and the Billy Dibbs of the world and the Paul Showtime Flemings and now Luke Jackson. I've had a lot of kids coming through the ranks and a lot of good amateurs. I've had 3 Olympians I've trained 3 Olympians, so I've been around. I'm a student of the game. I'm not just, I love boxing, and I study it, not just for me and for my fighters, but I love the game and I follow it religiously. So it, and let the boys do the job in the ring. Obviously behind a good training camp and solid work ethic and commitment, and most of all they got to be humble. That's why that's why I'm still in the game and working with these kids, because they're humble and look, man, we play a part, and I know Brendon will, will say the same. We do play a part, but behind the scenes.
You've been all over the world, as I said, with a lot of different fighters. Is there a most memorable fight or most memorable victory? I know that's a hard question to probably answer, but is there a most memorable fight or most memorable moment in boxing so far for you as a trainer, as a manager, as a promoter?
You know what? It is a tough one, and unfortunately we haven't had the greatest of results overseas. We have won a few titles and wins, but you know what? A couple of them that come to mind locally. I mean, no one gave Garth Wood a chance to knock out Anthony Mundine, and we did it. So that's got to be up there. Garth Wood winning the world title. And another one that there was, I don't know if you remember a kid by the name of William Kickett. They were touting him as the next.
Yeah, cool, Willie Kickett. Yeah.
Yeah, William Kickett. I had young Armed Helmer, who no one gave him a chance, and Armed Helmer knocked him out in one round. So those two come to mind. On the international scene, there's been a couple. Victor Archinian's first world title win was huge for us. He came back from behind, and he won the title. And what's another one? A highlight of my career, see my younger brother Nadal, skinny as him, knocking Manny Pacquiao down in the fight. One of the highlights too. In the Philippines, and unfortunately lost on a cut away decision in the 10th. He was in the fight the whole way, but he knocked Manny Pacquiao down, so it's something. But yeah, we've had some great moments, memories, moments. I was in the corner with Shannon Taylor when he fought Shane Mosley, the great Shane Mosley. I was in the corner with Glenn Kelly when he fought Roy Jones Jr. So we've had some good times, man. We've had some good times.
You speak about guys like Mosley, Pacquiao, some of the biggest names in boxing that you've been able to rub shoulders with. Is there an individual that you've met through boxing also that stands out, with the experiences overseas and travel overseas to rub shoulders with guys like that many people, boxing fans, I guess, sit there and listen to those names or, see them on TV and just in awe. Like I know that you took a Brendon Smith who, I've been, a funny story, I've been beside him and his phone rings and he says, "G'day, Oscar," and I thought, is that Oscar De La Hoya? And that's exactly who it was. So is there, for people, I guess, who look at these things from the outside, they're just untouchable things that, guys like yourself and Brendon have been face to face with. Is there any people in boxing you met that really stand out to you?
For me, he's a trainer, Freddie Roach. Of the boxers, I don't get too involved with them because I know how they are, but I'm more intrigued about trainers. When I used to travel away overseas, a lot of training camps, and I never used to stay. I used to go after I trained the boys. I used to go to gyms. You sit there and watch other trainers, how they train, how they act, and just watching them, every movement. And one guy that I sort of always, and it's given me a lot of his time, is Freddie Roach. I met Freddie Roach back in 1989, maybe early 90s. He came to Sydney one time. He remembered myself, my two other brothers, Hussey and Skinny, and ever since then, I've been to Macau a few times now when the fights are on, and Freddie's always given us a lot of time. Every time I go to LA, we visit him to his gym and just say hello, pop around. We don't sit down and watch his boys train, but we go out of LA to see him, and he's always given us a lot of time. And he's one guy that sort of I respect a lot in the game and admire what he's done, and hopefully one day we can do the same in this industry. But yeah, he's one guy that I can sit down and have a coffee with at any time and give us advice.
I just want to touch on something you mentioned before, fighting Manny Pacquiao. I mean, at the time, fighting Manny Pacquiao, probably, you wouldn't have known to the levels or lengths that he's been to now in the sport. But gee, when you look back on it now, that must have been a pretty proud moment to be there and to give him one hell of a shake.
Yeah, my brother, when he fought him, obviously Pacquiao was still WBC champion back then. It was very popular, obviously, in Asia, Pacific Asia region, our region. But it was after Skinny fought him. Skinny was about 20-0 when he fought him. That's his first loss to him. After then is when Pacquiao went to America. And you can ask Freddie. Freddie Roach will tell you now. He watched that fight. He'll tell you, mate, your brother was unlucky because there was a long count in the fight. We sat down with Freddie and had talks about it. And follow boxing. Like just on the weekend now, I had 3 guys that won the national titles, and we're going to the Australian titles and getting ready for the World Championships, hopefully. So we're not surprised. We've got a lot of strong kids in the stable with the amateurs, you know.
Well, now, so we better look back, but looking forward, what do you see as the future? I mean, you've got a big stable of boxers there. You spoke of Luke Action Jackson, obviously is one. Obviously, you know, Billy D, Paul Fleming, the guys you mentioned there. Coming up, do you see more, you know, some more great moments, some more of those moments that I'm sure that in 5-10 years you'll look back on and talk about and know that you're going to have some stories to tell and some success stories to tell of guys that are coming through the ranks now?
I definitely. I've got I sit back and I've got next generation coming through now. I'm just teaching them the ways. I mean, I've got another kid by the name of Ahmed Dib who's never had an amateur fight, but he's 15 and 0 as a pro, and he shows me something every day, and that's what motivates me. Not the world title fight, to see these kids when they win a state title, what it means to them as pros, what it means to them. His brother Bilal babyfaced him. I mean, unfortunately, he fought on that Channel 9 show, the footy show not long ago, and unfortunately his opponent,
it's Eric Sigadar. Yep.
Wasn't able to showcase, but they're good kids that are coming through the ranks who have had no amateur background, nothing. Not like Luke and Paul Fleming and the Billy Dibs of the world. They're supposed to win. They're supposed to win in Australia. They're meant to handle all the guys that we put in front of them. You know what I mean? It doesn't matter what level because of the amateur background they've got. But when you get kids that have had nothing, I mean, Toowoomba Young, his credit, these Australian titles are a big thing for him because, again, he's not like Luke Jackson has been Olympic Games, World Championships, Commonwealth Games and all that stuff. So that's why we're not taking him lightly because, mate, this kid can go from 0-0 in one fight. You know what I mean? So whatever, from Luke's end, can go from hero bang down, the other kid can go from 0 to hero. So we got a lot to lose. The kid hasn't got nothing to lose. But yeah, I see a lot of good talent come through our ranks. I mean, I've got a 21-year-old Dylan Emery who had 5 amateur fights. He's 10 or 11. I'm more excited about him than a lot of the former champions that I've got in my stable. You know, kids that have had amazing amateur backgrounds, mate. And he's a kid that's gone under the radar, and he's a very, very talented fighter coming through the ranks.
Well, there you go. So that's a name I think we better keep an eye on, Dylan Emery, as I said, because the pedigree and background you've got, you've been around some greats. So it's a pretty fair rap for guys like him, and also what you've said about Luke Jackson. So, Billy, we look forward to March 14. I think for us up here in Toowoomba, as I said, it's just as big a thing to have Luke Jackson in Toowoomba. It's probably a bigger thing for us to have Billy Hussein here in Toowoomba. I mean, Toowoomba's a big boxing community, and they know their boxing. And as I said, from the shows like The Contender, or whether they've seen you in the corners of some of those guys that we've talked about today. So we look forward to having you in Toowoomba. I'm sure Toowoomba, obviously we're hoping that you go home with a loss, but I'm sure Toowoomba will treat you well and they'll treat you respectfully. But we really appreciate your time today. We wish you and Luke all the best, and we really look forward to catching up with you on March 14 in the Garden City.
Mate, can't wait, mate. I've heard a lot about the shows, and I've promised Brendon that I'll be up there one day to watch, but unfortunately I'm going to be up there against him, and may the best man win, mate. You know what I mean? It's the end of the day, it's a sport, plus it's a business for myself and Brendon, but mate, I'm equally excited about the challenge for me against Brendon, so thank you so much.
Billy, thanks a lot, and as I said, we'll see you on March 14.